Hi, everybody. I am Michelle Solis from This Must Be Ink, coming to you from Seekonk, Massachusetts, where the weekend starts early on my Stamp and Sip live workshop. So tonight is Friday, July 4th, 2025. And we are going to start creating tonight with the Along These Lines stamp set. So I wanted to show you the stamp set because it's one of my favorites. All right. So everybody just grab whatever you're sipping on tonight. Let's take a sip and we will get started. All right. I am drinking my Oliver wine again. This one is called it's cranberry something. Don't remember the name of it now. Oh, okay. Let's see. We've got to go down here. Here we go. Okay, so tonight, because it is 4th of July, I decided we would do something in red, white, and blue. I did put out a query to everybody about which stamp they'd like to see from this set, and we got a couple votes for the bicycle and a couple votes for the dog. And because I've already made a sample with the dog, I'm going to do the bicycle tonight. So this Along These Lines stamp set, I really loved when I first saw the catalog because it's really different from anything that Stampin' Up! Has had before. You can find it on page 95 of the catalog. It's right here, and they show some great samples using the stamp set. You can see that they have done it on some cardstock here with some embossing. And then they've done this one here with some lines that I think are stamped. And then they've stamped off with this ink 3 times. And then they've done this one here also on cardstock with you can't even see it, with the birthday cake. And I had made a version of this card before, so I'm skipping the birthday cake tonight. All right, so I am pairing this up with the embossing folder called Glass and Gardens. This is an embossing folder that actually it's 2. It comes with 2 in the package. There's this one with the floral image. And then there's this one with this almost like a cut glass image. This is my new favorite, and I want to use it on everything. So this one is the one that I have been playing with. So it comes 2 in a package. It's called Glass and Gardens Embossing Folder. And it can go into the mini cut and emboss machine or the large cut and emboss machine. So tonight we're going to use this one that I love. And we are also going to combine it with the Blooming Phrases stamp set. What I really love about this is the little sentiments have this little line at the end, which I just thought would work so well with these images. Okay, so let me put this aside. This is the card that I showed you as a sample. This one is made with the little heart image, and this is the Glass and Gardens embossing folder here on this side. And it's got these little lines that come off, and I thought, well, that would be so cute to just have an image coming off of those little lines. So I did that with some white, and I heat embossed these images and just repeated the heart down the page. A little hard to see. And then I just did some blending with fresh freesia and put this on a fresh freesia card base. And then I also did heat embossing on the sentiment piece. Okay, so let me show you some other samples that I've done. So I've done this one as well with the, this is a dolphin image. So on this one, I took my embossing folder and embossed across the bottom. I didn't use this edge with the lines. I turned the paper the other way to just get this pattern. And then I embossed it after I stamped. So I stamped my thanks, and then that went into this dolphin image, and I heat embossed that. Then I embossed this with the folder, and then I did some blending with Azure Afternoon here. And then I also splattered this image so you can see a little bit of the splattering on the background there. Okay, and then this next one, this is the little dog that I played with. And so I also took a piece of white and I heat embossed the dog with the thinking of you. And I made those run together. And I thought this would be a nice sympathy card for someone who has lost a pet. On this one, I took a piece of Secret C two-tone cardstock and embossed it with that embossing folder, and then I sanded it to get that distressed look, and then mounted that on a piece of pecan pie with some ribbon to kind of soften the connection here between the cardstock, and then put that on a Secret C card base. And then I just used a little bit of pecan pie to highlight the dog image there. And then my last one here, I think, is my favorite. This is a happy anniversary card. Again, hard to see this embossing here unless you're in person. Thanks, Deb. Hi. So this is happy anniversary. And then I connected this with the rose image from the stamp set. And I did some blending with garden green and then a little bit of Poppy Parade for the rose. And then you can see the embossing on the side with some gold twine. And then I just mounted that on some seafoam green cardstock and then a white card base. So there you go. So there's a bunch of different ways you can use those images with the Blooming Phrases sentiments and the embossing folder. All right, so tonight I thought we would do the bicycle. And as I said, because it's July 4th, we'll do it in a red, white, and blue theme. Hi, Lorraine. And so I've got a piece of, for my focal point, I've got a piece of basic white that is 3 3/4 by 5. And this is the image that we're going to create our sentiment on, and we're going to emboss. So put all this stuff here and I have to move it now. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to emboss this. And I'm going to use the embossing folder at an angle on this one because I want my little bicycle to be going kind of uphill. So we're going to use the embossing folder and we're going to do it at an angle. So I'm going to put my paper into the embossing folder like this so I can get this little bit of an angle. I'm going from this corner up to wherever I feel I want it on the other side. And then I'm going to put that into my cut and emboss machine. So let's move you up there. Let's grab this. Okay, so I played around with this a little bit to try to figure out how I'm going to put it in here. It will not fit with it going from the hinged side. That won't fit in there. So we're going to have to go sideways. And we're going to just have to make sure this is lined up and going to be gentle. So we're going to line this up, making sure it's not hanging over, making sure it's at the proper angle that we want. Then we're going to put our other plate on. And I'm going to need my shim plate. This is called a thin die adapter, but also works with your embossing folders on the Sizzix machine that are not 3D embossing folders. Okay. So when that comes out, that's going to have this pattern that hopefully you can see at an angle here on the corner. Okay, so what I wanted to do then is I'm going to give this a little bit of color. So I'm going to take some Post-it notes, just so I don't mess it up, and I'm going to put some Post-it notes right along that image so that I don't get the color, as I'm blending, I don't get the color on the rest of the card. So we're just going to line those up. Okay, and then I'm going to use some, what color did I think I was going to use? Red? Red. Let's use red. So we're using real red. And I've got a blending brush. So I'm going to just pick up some color. And then I'm going to start on my page. And just get some color into that embossed area. This is going to start out kind of pink. And the more color that you put in there, the darker obviously it's going to get, and hopefully will start to look like red. Usually I'm super particular about not getting dark areas here, but I don't know that it needs to be perfect. We'll do the best we can to get it all even here. Okay, so in the spirit of red, white, and blue, we're going to be using real red for the blending here, and then we're also going to stamp our bicycle in red, and then we'll use the blueberry bushel, which is my favorite blue, for the sentiment. All right, I think that looks pretty good. All right, so we've got the red there on the corner. And then my thought was to, because this bicycle has kind of a broken line, maybe you can see it better this way, kind of a broken line image here, I want this to be a full line. So I'm going to draw a line with my Stampin' Write marker in the real red. And I'm going to try to get that straight by lining this up on my grid paper. So I'm going to line up this edge of the embossing and this edge right on this center line here. And then I'm going to line up my ruler on the next line over. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker and I'm going to draw a line. Just saying that makes me nervous. I'm going to start up here and just go down so I get a nice line across and I don't get any extra ink on the edge where I would normally start. And that's going to give me that nice line. And you could do more than one if you'd like. I'm just going to stick with one. Oh, was I going to put the line there? No. We are going to make more than one because that's where I was going to stamp. Okay, we're making more than one. Oh, sometimes I get off track. All right, so we're going to make a line, then we're going to stamp. So we need another line. All right, one moment, please. So I won't even tell you what I did the first time I tried to do this. Well, I'll show you. I'll show you my sample that I messed up. All right, so we're going to line this up again. Here's my original line. All right. Then we're going to skip a line because that's where we're going to stamp. Then we're going to make another line. All right. Okay, there we go. And then we'll stamp blue inside. So I'll show you on my sample what I did the first time. So you can see this crazy line in the middle here because I wasn't paying attention as to where I lined it up and I went to the wrong corner. So live and learn, live and learn. So we'll experimenting. Okay, so we're going to use blueberry bushel here for the sentiment. And my sentiment is going to be hello there. That should fit right in between. And as I said, we're going to do that in blueberry bushel. And try to line that up straight. And there we go. And then my bicycle, I want to do in red, and hopefully I'm going to line that up on that line there. All right, so we're going to ink this up with the real red. And try to see where that line is through my stamp. And get my bicycle right on there. Pretty good. Okay, so there's my red, white, and blue card front. Then I was going to use this blueberry bushel as a backdrop. I knew you would love the bicycle, Lorraine. It's your favorite thing. Okay. So we're going to just mount this onto our piece of blueberry bushel. Oh, a little crooked. There we go. And then we'll put that onto a white card base. I really feel like I like to keep this as simple as possible, just because the stamp set is so simple. I like it just clean and simple, I think. And there we go. And really, you could do any of these images in the red, white, and blue. There you go. Okay, so now we need some bling, and I do not have any real red or blueberry bushel bling. So I thought we would just color some. Maybe some blueberry bushel. Okay, so I've got my Stampin' Write marker, and I'm going to just color a couple of those. We'll do, this comes in 3 sizes, which I love when they give you all the sizes. So we're just going to color one of each size. These are the antique pearls that I'm coloring. And okay, here's my take pick tool. And we'll just get these on here. So I hope you guys all had a lovely 4th of July. I don't know if you guys are doing fireworks. We are not. Oh, I just messed that up because it's still wet. All right, putting that back for a second. And now I have to recolor it. We are not doing fireworks. And in fact, Rhode Island is has got power outages still. None around me, but some people over where there would be the fireworks tonight are still without power. So I don't even know if there will be fireworks tonight. All right, I don't know if these are drying. I feel like these are not drying. And are they not drying because I'm using my Stampin' Write marker? I'm going to grab my Stampin' Blend marker. One moment. Okay, let's use the Stampin' Blend marker, and we might be having more success with that. These are alcohol markers, so they dry much quicker. Of course, it could be because it's 1,000,000 degrees in this office. You were afraid they weren't going to dry? Well, they didn't. All right, let's see if these are doing better. Yep, that's better. All right, so we're going to take this one and get that onto our card. And then this one, with the Stampin' Blend marker, they're not quite as dark, but they're perfectly fine. Oh, I just don't know where to go. We'll go right here. And then this last one will go, we'll go over here. All right, so there we go. There's our red, white, and blue Hello There card with the little bicycle. Oh yeah, you guys had thunderstorms down there too. I know my sister lives in Florida still. Okay, so I lost my samples. All right, so let me just put back down the samples that I showed at the beginning. Here's the one with the heart images that are heat embossed. And then I did some blending with fresh freesia. And here is the one with the dolphin with the embossing at the bottom. A little bit of splatter. And then this is the one with the little dog image that's got some blending in pecan pie. And this is a piece of Secret C two-toned cardstock that is embossed and then sanded at the top. And then this last one with the garden green blending and a little bit of Poppy Parade at the top for that rose image. This one says Happy Anniversary. And with the embossing down the side. So there are the cards with the along these lines stamp set and the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. Okay. All right, so that's it for me tonight. Let's get back out of here. There we go. It's like 1,000,000 degrees in here. Okay, here we go. All right, that's it for me tonight. So, yeah, so I'm not sure if we are going out to see any fireworks tonight, but I think I might get my husband to actually light a fire outside. So maybe, if I'm lucky, I might get some s'mores. And you know, what's better than s'mores and potato salad and hot dogs on the 4th of July, right? That's what it's all about, summer. Okay, so that's it for me. Everybody have a wonderful long weekend. Enjoy your time with family and friends, and stay crafty, my friends. See you next week.